didn't allow anything to grow, anything to develop. He didn't allow anything to progress because he was lacking something. What was he lacking? He said it. He says, I was lacking man, a species that would work the ground. I thought I would help you and do your research for you. And I discovered that the word work that God used here is the word ergon, and it means management. Shocked? Yes, you are. God says, I refuse to let anything grow because I don't have a manager. This verse changed my life. I was a teenager when I understood this verse because I was complaining to God concerning why I was poor. I was living in an island where I still live, 7 miles wide, 20 miles long, living in a wooden house on 4 rocks, sleeping on a dirty wooden floor on a mat. And I became angry at God because my parents took me to church every week, sometimes 3 times a week, and we were still poor. And I said, God, you don't exist. You can't exist. You only like white people. I was serious about it. I was 13. I became angry. And I said, forget all this Sunday school stuff and all this Bible stuff because it ain't working. Teenager. God said something to me as a kid. I'll never forget. God says, I don't make rich people nor poor people. I only make people. Some become rich, some become poor, son, depending on how they manage. That changed my life. That's good. That's good. And then I found this verse. 16 years old, I was reading the Bible, and I read this verse. It says, God didn't allow anything to grow, anything to spring up, anything to progress, because he was lacking a manager to manage the earth. So why did God create you? Not to have worship services, not to sing in the choir, not to be an usher. He didn't create you to be no preacher or no pastor, no apostle, no deacon, nothing. He wanted a manager. Sure. Go ahead, stone me, I don't care. I'm giving you the most important message you ever heard in your life. That's why you're struggling from dollar to dollar. You are a bad manager. Take a deep breath. Good. God says, I don't allow anything to grow until I find a manager. And God actually stops growth where there is no manager. He stops it. Let's take this a step further. Therefore, this verse in the first section of the Bible tells us God's primary assignment for man. It actually tells us that the principal motivation why God created you was because he wanted you to dominate the earth. Okay, we know that in chapter 1. But he says he wants it to happen through management of resources. God created you not because he needed a singer. He didn't need a preacher. You know, people ask me, how did you build an organization from 7 people in your apartment to a global organization affecting over 100 countries? I said, not because I studied theology, but because my master's degree is in business.